everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to episode 99 of In Focus Friday, one shy of that magic 100, where we'll be sharing with you guys what makes this giant clunking noise here on my table. And boy oh boy is it a fun thing to have and look at. And I will be doing a grand reveal and sneak peek at the end of this episode. A lot of you incidentally have correctly guessed what it is we're going to be having a look at next time on episode 100, but if you'd like to know for sure, then make sure that you stick around to the end of this episode and have a look. It's well worth seeing. Now, last week we had a look at the Dragon and Tiger coin from the Perth Mint. Absolutely sublime follow-up to the Dragon and Phoenix coin, and very popular with collectors and investors alike, and as well with you guys. Huge amount of views and thumbs ups and positive comments about that coin. So if you haven't checked it out, please do go have a look. The link is down in the description below. Now, of course, that meant there was no vote next week because we're going back to back with the Spade Guinea so that we can have room for episode 100 and this very, very cool giant thing sitting off camera at the moment. But more on that later. The Spade Guinea has its day in the sun today, and this is it. It is a very, very nice coin indeed. Now, I should just say I'm holding this with my bare hands. This is not one that I'm aiming to keep in 100% perfect condition. I do have others for that kind of longer term collection for me to enjoy that are protected. And we'll talk a little bit about quality as we go, because there are a few things to note about these which is important for those of you out there who like to have 100% perfect coins. But here we have it, the Spade Guinea. Now, what is a Spade Guinea? Why is it called the Spade Guinea? Well, it's called the Spade Guinea because of this shield design here, which looks like the head of a spade, and it's obviously the guinea. The guinea is a unit of currency from Old English money, which actually stopped really being a kind of unit of currency in it's around 1813 after the Napoleonic Wars, when the new kind of Currency Act brought in the pound as that sort of standard highest denomination unit of currency. But the guinea back then was 21 shillings, which was basically £1.05, so slightly more valuable than a pound. And the guinea originally was a gold coin, and this is a kind of, I suppose, a kind of commemoration style coin. It's not necessarily for any particular anniversary of the guinea or anything like that. It's just, it's just a very cool coin with a bit of an homage to the Spade Guinea coin that we have. And now the Spade Guinea itself was only for George III around the kind of mid to late 1770s, that kind of era, when the Spade Guinea was around. It's a very, very collectible and very sought after collectible numismatic coin. This coin, the Spade Guinea, really is a sublime thing to look at. I've seen a few of them at coin fairs, but never actually held one in person. But on the original Spade Guineas, of course, they would have had George III rather than Queen Elizabeth, as you can see here. But their design, the sort of shield that you see here is a very interesting one, because that is all about merging the two different houses of the kind of royalties, the House of Hanover, I believe it was, and the sort of crowns of England and Scotland, I believe. So yeah, it was very, very interesting time at that period of history, in terms of monarchies and successions of monarchies and the disputes about which monarch should be, on the throne and which house really should be on the throne. Of course, the House of Hanover, ultimately was the successful house that kept on going, and we've got that all the way down to Queen Elizabeth today. But yeah, so very interesting stuff, and it's of course represented here in this fantastic silver coin from St Helena of all places. So this is one of the things, I guess, which is a little bit interesting about this coin. It's not a Royal Mint UK coin, but it is St Helena, which is, of course, one of the last remaining kind of colonies, I suppose, of the British Empire, so to speak, a tiny little island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And, it's traditionally used the kind of Spade Guinea emblem on it for all of its currency and coinage over time. So it's a kind of nice homage to St Helena as well as the Spade Guinea side of things. Now, one thing I really love about this coin is the intricate detail around the spade itself. All of these tiny little rose marks, they almost look like Tudor roses, all around the Spade Guinea itself, or the spade image itself. And this is what, in my opinion, makes it an incredibly attractive and special coin, and one which I think makes it a bit of a sleeper for 2018. I think this has got a great deal of potential to be a very popular coin in the future. However, it's not without its issues. You might be able to see, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to quite show it because my finger's very big on the camera here, but there's a little rose there with a tiny little mark on it. And if you can see that, that's a little kind of imperfection ding or dent that's been caused by the coins. There's also another one, as you can see, just under the rim of the shield there. I'm sure there are others. There's another couple over on the left-hand side, just at kind of 4 o'clock from that dot, so to speak. And I think there's another one down on the bottom there at sort of 7 o'clock almost. And those are caused by the kind of coins just basically bumping and rubbing against each other in the tube. So there are minor imperfections on these, and I think it's going to be quite interesting to find out whether or not many or any get to the kind of MS70 grade style that we would obviously want to get if you are grading them. Now, whether or not this is worth grading at all as a modern bullion coin, one would argue most likely not. It's maybe not necessarily going to be a big winner in a graded slab. However, with the kind of natural imperfections which we're seeing on these coins, and a lot of people have been pointing them out when they've been receiving them, it might well be that that kind of MS70 graded version will yield quite a large return for people who just have to have that absolutely perfect coin specimen in their collection. So something to think about there, but not necessarily the most important thing to worry about, because at the end of the day, this is just an incredibly cheap piece of bullion grade coinage, and that's one thing which made it incredibly popular on the group order. You can see there the East India Trading Company logo, that famous logo that we all have come to know and love from films like the Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff. It's that kind of era of gold and silver coinage and treasure and all of that. It just harks back to there, which is very interesting indeed. But yeah, so as a very cheap piece of bullion grade coinage, it's very, very fun indeed to have. And of course, because it's so cheap, I'm not really bothered about the major imperfections on it, so to speak. And of course, that's why I'm holding this one in my bare hands. That said, I do have one in a nice capsule, which is going to be kept for that longer term, to make it as nice as possible for as long as possible. But it's not the end of the world if they get a bit dinged and dented. The Queenie on this side is not one of the most recent portraits. I believe this is the 3rd generation portrait, and it's by Raphael Maklouf, so the Maklouf portrait. It's nice to see Queenie looking so young and sprightly. Not entirely sure why they've used this old portrait of her, considering she's well in her 90s now. She's looking very good for 90 though. But nevertheless, it looks pretty cool. I have to say though, I don't really remember this on other portraits of the Queen, but her nose looks a little bit big, doesn't it? It's got a bit of a bulge at the end of her nose, and if you do it that angle, it looks a little bit out of kilter with the rest of it. I don't know. Maybe that's just me looking at this portrait for the first time, or maybe it's just the fact that there's one of those little rosebuds sticking out of the bottom and top of her nose, which makes it look a bit odd. But anyway, regardless, I still think it's a gorgeous coin. I think it's one for the future, definitely. It's nice to see that they've continued this rose motif on the Queen's head side as well, because a lot of the time you get these kind of coins where they could do really well on one side and they just ignore the monarch side, and that can be a real shame indeed. But I think it looks great. I think it really does. It's one of my favourite pickups for this year so far. It's up there with the Oriental Border Britannia as that sort of top 5 coins for 2018 so far. But I'd love to know your opinions. I'd love to know what you think about this coin, what you think about the design, what you think about the kind of small imperfections that you're seeing out there. Are you one of these people that really, that niggles you if you've picked up these coins and they have tiny little kind of production marks or dings that have come from the tube that they get supplied in? Do let me know. Comment down below what you think about this coin. Has this video inspired you to pick some up? I'd always like to know if that's the case. So there we go. There is the Spade Guinea. Now then, the grand reveal. I feel a bit of a drum roll. That's about enough drum roll as we can get. Here is what we're going to look at, and boy oh boy is it a fun one. Look at that. It is a 100-ounce bar. That's right, 100 ounces of silver. And here is the main thumbnail of what we're going to be looking at for next week. Baird & Co. 100-ounce silver bar. It's going to be a special one. 100 episodes, guys. Massive thank you. If you want to see episode 100 next week, make sure you hit the subscriber button. And if you want to get an alarm when that video goes live, then make sure you hit the notification bell as well. Thank you so much for watching episode 99. If you'd like to check out other episodes, I do have, of course, a playlist down below where you can see all 98 other episodes of In Focus Friday, all the way back from my humble beginnings of episode 1, where I had really no idea that we'd even get to episode 10, let alone episode 100. So thank you everybody, and make sure you stick around and see episode 100. Thumbs up if you like this video, share it around on your social media if you would like to as well. That'd be very helpful for everything that I do here on my channel. Otherwise, have a fantastic weekend ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.